all my fantasy football friends out there. Welcome to the Multiple First Dynasty Football channel here on YouTube. This is Tony Stoll, Stash X, coming at you with our final in the wide receiver videos for 2023 incoming rookies. We're going to be taking a look at the long shots, but the guys we got to talk about because they may break out into some relevance. We're going to be looking at the tier 5 and lower of wide receivers today. We got some great content for you. As always, I'm joined by my co-host and partner, Greg the Velociraptor. How you feeling today, man?
Oh, man, we are just a few days from the draft at this point, and I'm over the moon, man. We're going to finally get to open all our presents.
Yeah, it feels like Christmas, baby. Especially when you've been sitting on all these picks. I have something like
Absolutely.
60 picks across 20 leagues or some crazy number like that. 70, I don't even know. But yeah, man, thank you for joining us today, my friends and family at home out there. We are, to Greg's point, we are 5 days, 2 hours, and 2 minutes away from the draft as of recording this video. You can taste it. You can hear the alerts on my phone when the new picks come in. Alrighty, let's go. But yeah, we're stoked for the draft here. I'm particularly fired up today because I want to show you guys something. As you know, I sell cars as my day job, and this big, bad new Toyota product, the redesigned 2023 Toyota Sequoia Capstone Edition, your boy sold one of these today to a lucky local customer. This thing is about $85,000. It's got a 14-inch screen. It's got power running boards that come out the side of it when the doors open. It's got ventilated seats through this perforated leather that will blow cool air on your butt on a hot day. I mean, can't beat it. But yeah, if you got about 85 grand to shell out, you can have one of these too. But you'll probably wait about a year on it. Enough about that. Let's get into these wide receivers. Today we're going to be looking at first guy on the board is Mr. Jonathan Mingo. Guy getting a lot of buzz, a lot of draft build-up hype. Definitely a riser here. I've been seeing him mocked into the second round pretty frequently. Jonathan Mingo is, of course, an SEC wide receiver. We love to see that at 6'2", 225, coming out of Ole Miss. What do you like about Mr. Mingo?
Yeah, so at 6'2", 220, he ran 4.46 at the combine. He's a senior breakout, 51 catches for 861, 5 touchdowns. That's almost 17 per grab at Ole Miss's senior year. Look, SEC receiver, prototypical X receiver in a class that doesn't have a lot of that. Solid after the catch, one of the better run blockers in the class. This is the third best athlete in the class position by relative athletic score. I was tempted 10 days ago to put him up in the next tier with Bryce Ford Wheaton and Andre Yoshivas. I didn't do it. I wish I had.
He might be there now.
He's getting a ton of buzz. I am really somebody who I've been thinking a lot since the last time we came to you guys, and we talked about the size of some of these receivers, of Josh Downs, of Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, and look, I like those guys. I stand by what I said. I don't like Josh Downs. I like Flowers. I like Addison, but I really do think that the narrative that small receiver is fine now, all of a sudden, is driven by the fact that there aren't a lot of big receivers.
Yeah, they don't have any choice. They have to be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, this is wish talking.
Sure.
This is my view, right? Like, actually, the top tier of this class is really scary. And some of these big outside X receivers in the second and third and fourth and fifth tiers that you can throw darts at are really interesting. And so, look, if Jonathan Mingo gets good capital in the right situation, he's late breakout. He's a body catcher. He has a massive concentration drops problem, meaning like his hands are usually okay.
Yeah.
Right. But like he turns his head upfield and drops it. He's not a sudden athlete. It does not get a lot of space.
It's not a twitchy guy.
No, but he wins contested catches. He wins outside. He got enough done in the SEC. I think DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, is somebody who he reminds me of a lot, and I'm a big fan of DPJ.
Yeah, same.
So that's a real compliment from me. You can see some bits of Anquan Bolden in his work, right? He's like a big possession receiver who plays outside. He's not super twitchy. But if he gets the proper draft capital, I think the ceiling is higher than some of the guys who have a smaller frame.
Yeah, right, because he's got the size. So he's got the size and the speed. He could do something. I wouldn't be surprised to see this guy as a day 2 selection, late round 2, round 3. I think we're going to see that. Probably because of the size and everything pushing him up the board.
Yep.
Up next is going to be Mr. Charlie Jones, the redshirt senior out of Purdue. Mr. Jones.
Yeah, so Charlie Jones is a double transfer. He started at Buffalo in the MAC, then went to Iowa for 2 years before transferring to Purdue. He's 5'11", 175, runs a 4.43. He's a senior breakout, 110 catches for 1361 and 12 touchdowns as a senior.
That's good. That's a really good senior profile.
Yeah, this is just going to be a slot machine guy who is very, very landing spot dependent. I think I'm a draft capital guy, but like this is somebody who he's an older prospect. He needs to get on the field immediately. But the thing is, he could easily be a productive slot as a rookie in a way where like this is a different profile from some of the other guys in this tier where this is a floor play. If you see him get the right landing spot, you could spend a 4th round pick and get a flex fill-in start as a rookie who you feel fine about.
Is this like what you're saying already? I'm thinking like Hunter Renfrow, Kyle Phillips.
Yes.
Is that kind of the same mold here?
Right. Okay. Exactly. So lack of ceiling here, but like high floor, scheme versatility, lots of production. I think the ceiling here is Randall Cobb. And then like the median outcome is something much more
pedestrian. Yeah.
Pedestrian. Yeah, but like Cole Beasley-ish if you're lucky. And if it ends up being less than that, you still might get some fill-in weeks, right? So I think he's somebody to watch for landing spot.
Yeah, he's someone who sounds like you could probably just take a dart on him and probably your rookie 4th round and maybe get some starts out of him as a rookie. And if he doesn't do anything, he probably is an easy cut if you have to. So you like that, right?
I agree with that.
All right, next up, Puka Nasua. Am I saying that right?
I believe it's Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua. I love it. All right, he's going to bump up probably to the top of this tier on name alone right now. So
yeah. So Puka is very divisive in some ways. Goodness. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's like some drag racing on the street outside.
I can't. But yeah, it sounds like fun though.
So he's a senior from BYU who transferred from Washington. Now, look, one thing we don't love is went to a Power 5 school, was not productive, did not get on the field, had to transfer to a non-Power 5 school, and then was very productive.
Yeah, it's interesting when that happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So in his 2 years at Washington, he had 16 catches. In his 2 years at BYU, 91 catches, 1,430 yards, 11 touchdowns. Added an additional 39 for 357 and 5 on the ground. Right. So some poor man's Deebo Samuel skills to this. Right. At 6'2", 201, 4.5 runner. So not super fast, but kind of twitchy for his size.
Does he have one of those like bigger lower bodies, kind of like Deebo does? It's like kind of loaded in the lower half. Yeah.
Big, physical, productive team leader. I believe he was a team captain. High effort, great blocker, very versatile. Coaches will love him. Teammates will like him. Right. The cons, again, the transfer away from a Power 5 field to seed the field. He's a senior, late breakout, stiff runner at times, not great athlete. I think my ceiling comp is Gabe Davis. And if Gabe Davis had a similar profile and was like a 6th round, 7th round prospect who got 4th round draft capital and then sat a year and then turned out to outperform what everybody thought he was going to do, right? And so that to me is like your best case here. He feels a little David Bellish to me in a bad way. That's like my bad comp
Yeah,
is a guy who's productive in college with this kind of frame where the athleticism maybe just doesn't translate into getting open.
sure.
So that's Puka Nakua.
Puka Nakua. Yeah, interesting prospect there. Next up's going to be Mr. Rakeem Jarrett, the junior from Maryland. 6 foot, 192. Rakeem Jarrett, another guy in our fifth tier. Um, Big time high school like scouting profile coming out.
Yeah,
5-star recruit. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, you love that 5-star recruit.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Had a soft had a was a breakout as a sophomore, 62 catches for 829 and 5 touchdowns, and worse as a junior. This is a guy who um, I don't think I'm going to get a lot of him because I think every league is going to have their like Devi people or prospect people who are still more in love with him from 24 months ago.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you can get him in this wide receiver 20 range, I'm real on 5th round draft capital, and you're getting him in the late 4th or as a UDFA or in your 5th rookie round if you have one of those. I think there's ceiling here for him to be a better college player than or pro player than he was at college. Um, Run after catch is good. 6 foot 192 is like what a small wide receiver is supposed to look like in my
Yeah.
mind, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to this 5'9", 171 stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, does not win contested catches, is not like a breakaway speed guy, although he's very quick. Um, but he's one of these guys who just kind of gets open and is very good after the catch. Ceiling comp for me is Darnell Mooney. There you go.
Yeah, so that closes out tier 5 for us. Raheem Jarrett, Puka Nakua, Charlie Jones, and Jonathan Mingo, 4 receivers that come from tier 5. Greg made a good point there about if you can get a UDFA or a 5th round pick, that's what these guys are, and that's what we're here to do is help sort out these dudes at the bottom, so you know who's worth. Usually when the rookie draft finishes up and stuff, you only have room to maybe add 1 or 2 guys. So who's actually worth doing that in a whole sea of players? And we're gonna try and help sort that out for you here today, because you can get lucky and you can definitely find hits down there. But we're going to move on to the tier 6 of the wide receivers here. We got Michael Wilson from Stanford.
Absolutely. And the other thing we're trying to do here is sometimes one of these guys gets unexpected draft capital, right? And we want you to have heard and seen that name before that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael Wilson is one of those guys who could do that.
Sure.
Okay. So Michael Wilson, senior from Stanford, 6'2", 213, ran a 4.58. Okay, this is another guy who has that classic outside receiver profile, right? True sophomore breakout, 56 catches for 672 and 5 touchdowns. Very good season. Okay. And then he's had his last 2 seasons have been completely derailed by injuries. I believe he played like 6 games over the last 2 years. It was like really not a lot, very little. And like a couple of those he left injured. So there are medical reports we don't get to see that teams will have to look very carefully at, right? But if somebody looks at him and says he's gotten very unlucky for 2 consecutive years, I love what he looked like as a sophomore, and I love the athletic profile. He could get draft capital, and then you go and you say, probably the medical's cleared, and I'm going to be interested and hope to snipe all my league mates who haven't been paying attention, right? So that's why we're bringing up this guy. Size, speed, early breakout, tracks the ball well in the air. The health, he's unproductive. He's like underdeveloped because he was raw. He played very well at the Senior Bowl. The ceiling to me is Pierre Garçon as like an outside receiver who makes most of his living downfield, but like supports enough volume to have a floor too. Yeah. Right. So like a home run hitter with a floor.
It could be a fantasy relevant player, or at least a dart throw type player. You can throw in your flex spot if you need to. That kind of speed and size or that home run hitting ability. Absolutely. Yeah, moving on with tier 6 of the 2023 class of rookie wide receivers. We're going to talk about Parker Washington from Penn State.
Yeah, Parker Washington is a junior from Penn State. Hang Yeah, he is 5'10", 204. He does not have a 40 because of a leg injury.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So this is a guy who is here because he didn't have. Had he tested and been a little better than we thought, he might have gotten buzzy and been up 2 tiers better than this, right? Or maybe not. We don't know. And
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying. So uh, he's a freshman contributor and a sophomore breakout at a Power Five school. He had a down junior year. Injuries had something to do with that, but he got good enough word from the draft community to decide to declare as a junior, right?
You can't blame him for
Um,
doing that. It already seems like the type of guy who probably should have stayed, though. I mean, just from his profile.
yeah, I mean it's tough,
Yeah.
but he's got some good tape. He's a really good run after catch guy. He's like
Mhm.
real shifty, right? And he has good hands, and he's a willing blocker for his size. Um, One of the downsides for me is he's a really good kick returner in the kind of way where what if it like he could get
Yeah.
supplemental third round um, capital, and you go, oh, this guy was a third round pick, but like they see a dynamic kick returner and maybe a third receiver
Yeah, like a two-touch a game gadget type player,
who,
add kick
who's
returner. Yeah.
right, who's not going to help your fantasy team,
Hmm.
and so like there's a chance he's a trap. Also very raw. He was also a complementary piece in a mediocre offense, and a lot, even though a lot of his like his rate stats were pretty good. You know, I don't know. The ceiling comp feels like Golden Tate is a guy who was like a later, like a lower prospect,
Yeah.
got all the way home on this kind of profile.
Hmm.
But the median outcome for me is like Devin Duvernay,
Yeah. So
which
that
is
RAC ability could develop into a PPR volume role, but we'll have to see what kind of situation he gets put in. This is players like this. A lot of times you look for them to land in like really wide receiver light rooms, and then it becomes a really attractive dart throw. So this could be something there.
absolutely. And then close out the tier with Tank Dell. I told you when we were doing running backs, and you said you like Tank Bigsby because of the name. I
Hmm.
told you we would be doing a little Tank next week, right? So
He is
this is
little.
Tank. This is
Yeah.
Tank Dell, the red shirt senior from Houston, 5'8", 165 pounds, ran a 4.49 40 at the combine, which is, by the way, absolutely terrible for the size
Yeah.
for the BMI, right? Like this is the size adjusted speed here is not good. Um,
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah.
uh, he was a junior year breakout, 90 catches for 1,329 yards and 12 touchdowns. And his senior year, 109 catches for 1,398 and 17 touchdowns.
Hmm.
Led the NCAA in receiving touchdowns. Now, um, the pros are this is an electric player who is hard to keep. He is hard to move with in coverage. He gets open because he turns very fast. He's quick, right? Um, and he is very electric with the ball in his hands after the catch. That's how he scores so many touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
So like you see this, right? But like the cons, he's 165 pounds. Like, what do you do with a guy like this? If you were in a best ball league, this might be a fun guy,
Yeah.
right? If you are in a lineup league, is this guy ever going to get enough reliable touches to be a regular player? I cannot imagine. I don't know how if he can really play. I think this is a player who is 2 tiers higher in the consensus ranks, but there is a sizable minority of us, like I don't know, 35-40% of this people who seriously watch this stuff, who just look at him and say, "I'm out."
You
I
just
like,
write him off on
and
size alone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't. Somebody is going to take him higher than
Yeah,
I
the
am, right?
NFL.com scouting grade is a 6.3. Most of the guys we've been talking about are like under 6. So the NFL tracker that we got brought up on the screen here thinks this kid's going to be a starter, and a decent one.
So the
You
only
see the
highly
dichotomy
successful,
there. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, the only highly successful wide receiver with this kind of skill set and approximate weight is Hollywood. That's
Hmm.
it. That's your comp. And like everybody else is Tutu Atwell. Yeah, I just I don't know what to make of this guy.
Mhm.
And he's another one who will return punts, and like at your own risk, guys. I'm scared.
Yeah, these are the type of guys I always try to target off the waiver wire, the UFA guys. I mean, these are ones I'm interested in. I don't usually want to not blow, but like spend a pick on one of these dudes, even a fifth round pick sometimes. But like, that's assuming he's got low capital. But like, taxi slot, UFA slot, $1 waiver wire claim. Yeah, hell yeah, I'd spend that on Tank though.
I think somebody will go take him in the third round and let a better prospect get to you in the fourth. That's what I think.
It could happen too. It's all capital. We say it all the time, but it's all capital based. But
Absolutely.
that is
So,
tier 6. We got
so moving down to tier 7.
Yeah,
Tier 7 here starts here with a guy who is not even on sleeper. You'll notice that blank spot there.
He's empty,
So
yeah.
by the way, if you're in a league on sleeper that has already drafted, like you did a startup with rookie names, or you're in a league that does rookie draft early. Okay, this is a guy who will eventually, if he gets any kind of draft capital, be a waiver player who you can get for fab. All right, this is Grant Dubose, the senior from Charlotte. Okay,
from Charlotte. Yeah.
Yeah. So Grant Dubose, senior from Charlotte. This is a Division II transfer. 6'2", 202, ran a 4.57 at his pro day. This is a toolsy quarterback conversion, getting late riser hype. In 2 seasons at Charlotte, he caught 126 passes for 1,685 yards and 15 touchdowns. Right, very productive at a non-Power 5 BCS school. We don't love the senior declare. He wasn't a high recruit, but he's new to the position. Newish. This is a guy who I think has like real practice squad developmental upside. I see some like Tim Patrick in this profile.
I was thinking like Mohamed Sanu when you started talking about him as a
Yeah.
quarterback transfer. Yeah.
Right. Okay. There you go. Right. Yeah. So just as a guy you can get for free, that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about him. Yep. Right. Like, so if I know you, Tony, are in some leagues where you did the startup.
Yeah,
I don't know how
he's just going to populate into the sleeper database here eventually. And if you're just paying attention, you can pick him up for free. Yeah.
It's for $0 over. Right. Yep. Exactly. And by the way, when he will populate, like if he is a surprise 5th round draft pick, he will populate the day after the draft.
Yeah, and that's something I want to touch on real quick. So if you are in a league right now that's a live league that is claims open and stuff, that's like an established league, maybe you rookie drafted already, you did a pre-NFL draft. Okay, close your waivers during the draft, all right? Because you don't want that. That usually leads to drama in your leagues because someone populated into the system at like 1 a.m., the waivers ran at 2 a.m., and someone was sitting there waiting for it, and like I don't know, there's a discussion to be had about the guy who's paying the closest attention getting the player, but if we're being real here with each other, I think it's best to just have a level playing field and have your waivers closed at least while the draft is live Thursday to Sunday. So my opinion.
Sure, yeah. but then you don't have to yell at everybody that this happened, right? You don't have to say, "Hey
you don't
guys,"
have to fight about it.
Hey guys, notice. You don't have to warn everybody. Hey guys, Grant Dubose just got added.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if nobody else notices that he wasn't in the draft pool before, like you don't have to point that out to everybody.
No, you don't. No, it's
just like
playing for money.
Just like quietly put us. If you're the commissioner, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But like otherwise, just like right? Like
I just remember running into that like 2 years ago. We had a live league that did a rookie draft in like March. Guys were stoked about it, and then like while the draft was happening, people were picking up. Josh Palmer was the big one. Josh Palmer got picked. He wasn't in the database yet, and he got picked up. I don't know how an SEC receiver like him didn't get picked up. Wasn't in there, but anyway, he got picked up on like Saturday night, and then it became this whole thing. But whatever.
Yeah, so good reason to close your waivers if you're the commissioner.
Yeah.
But like, this guy isn't going to cause a stink. There's nothing that big a problem.
Probably not.
Just have your eyes on it.
Yep.
All right.
Moving
next
on.
One.
Trey Tucker.
Yeah,
there you go.
Senior from Cincinnati, 5'9", 175, ran a 4.41. This is another slot-only prospect who could get day 3 capital. as a senior, had 52 for 672 and 3. Look, this is a slot wide receiver prospect who is tiny. Another one. Um, if some team decides to give him high day 3 capital, then you're looking at him maybe like that's this is the bottom tier. Um, it wouldn't surprise me. Like I think he has a high floor. It wouldn't surprise me if he earned a number 3 role for somebody when some injuries happened. He's very polished. That's about it. Next guy, Elijah Higgins. Okay, so senior from Stanford, 6'3", 235, ran a 4.54. 59 catches for 704 yards as a senior, which is not a very good yards per reception, but he was productive. This is a guy who was being talked about as a tight end convert. Okay, and that is why he is. That is why I want to be like really noticing him here. I am not that interested in him as a wide receiver prospect. I do not think he moves well enough. But as a tight end prospect, I see some Juwan Johnson in him. I didn't have this feeling about any of the prospects in last year's draft, but Juwan Johnson was a guy when he was coming out of Oregon who I really liked as a tight end convert. And this is a guy who I have that same, I'm real interested feeling. So if any team takes him on day 3 and says, we are converting him to tight end, and you are in a tight end premium or 2 tight end league with a taxi squad, you go let him fall through all 4 rounds, then you add him as a UDFA and you put him on your taxi and you see what happens next camp.
Yeah, he's someone who could carry that like dual tag, that wide receiver tight end tag. I'll tell you historically, guys, anytime you can you see one of those, just roster that player. I mean, Cordero Patterson, Taysom Hill, there's a long list of dudes. Robert Tonyan was listed as a wide receiver tight end for a while and had a couple productive seasons.
J.D. McKissick.
Yup, wide receiver running back combo. Like anytime you see dudes that do that, double dual, there's like value in just the fact that they're dual tagged. So heads up on that. I mean, this could be one of those.
So, last guy on our list, Dontavian Wicks. So, Dontavian Wicks is a guy I do not really have a good grasp on. But
I've never
like,
heard
just,
of him, so
okay,
yeah, take me
he's
through
senior from Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
6'1", 206 pounds, ran a 4.62. He's one of the least athletic players we're going to be talking about.
Love it.
He does have outside size.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a junior, he went 57 catches for 1,203 yards, 21.2 yards per reception, and 9 touchdowns.
That's a lot. Yeah.
In 2022, it was 30 catches for 430 yards and 2 touchdowns. And
was he hurt in 22 for a while?
Not really. No, he had a little thing, but not really. So what was that?
How did his production slip so much? Yeah.
Right. So like, this is just a guy for you to know in case the draft capital is there. Right. If this is a guy who goes, oh, surprise, he goes 120 in the middle of the 4th to a place with a poor depth chart,
Tennessee,
all of a sudden you're interested, right? And he's got enough juice. I don't think we've covered every draftable receiver. I think we've covered every receiver who has a reasonable chance to go in the 4th round or better, right? Or top 150 or better, right? Like there are going to be some other guys who go in the very late rounds, Jaden Hazelwood, but like I think these are the guys who, if they get the draft capital, you're going to want to follow that.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, so we got what? There's 9 plus there's 14, 15, 16, 17, 21, 24. We talked about 27 guys total. I mean, can't imagine. I mean, it's hard to find any fantasy relevance outside of that. So, yeah, I feel good about our list here. Yeah, man, that's the rookie wide receivers across 3 videos. You can check out the links below, and there's going to be a link to the other wide receiver videos. Yeah.
Oh, check me out. Check me out on the FF Mad Scientist podcast over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or over on YouTube. That's FF Mad Scientist.
Yeah, Greg did a guest spot. His knowledge is being taken away from us here, so we're really jealous, and we're not going to let him do any more of those. I'm just kidding. That's
You,
cool
you
that you're
you
on there.
can you can check out my three my guys.
Hmm.
My three my guys.
Any
Uh,
spoilers? Can you give us
do you
one
want
of
to
them?
guess? Do you want to guess? You've
Is it
seen
like
them all.
is it rookies or
Yeah, three rookie my guys.
three rookie my guys?
Right.
Andre Yoshivas.
Nope.
Okay.
I mentioned him.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I don't know. There's probably one at tight end. I bet you're a Sam Laporta guy. I know you like him. No?
I didn't pick a tight end. I would have picked Laporta.
Yeah, you would have. Uh, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Marvin Mims.
Yeah, I went Bryce Ford Wheaton.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I went Izzy Abanikanda.
Okay. Yeah. And
And
then don't tell us
and
all of them. Nope. Got to tune in.
you got to tune in. All right,
Okay.
you got to tune in to find my quarterback pick. It's a really great series. He interviewed a bunch of people in the industry. He interviewed Math Bomb, Kinley Platte, and a bunch of people. And he had everybody come on and do three my guys for the draft. It
There
was
you go,
a
man.
good
Yeah.
series. Check it out.
Oh, sweet. Check that out. That's FF Hit.
FF Mad Scientist. I'll drop
FF
a
Mad
link
Scientist.
in the comment section.
Yep, and leave us a comment, man. Let us know what you think of the wides. Who would you move around these tiers? Who do you like out of tier 3, out of video 3, out of tier 5 and lower? Who's your guy from out of there? You like Tank Dell? You like Puka Nukua? Jonathan Mingo? That's probably who I'm leaning into myself. But appreciate you tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment. Peace out.